What's up guys, welcome back to the Fantasy Funhouse. I'm not in my house, I'm in a hotel in Sweden currently working some events. So this will just be a quick video because I'm not in my proper setup, but I will do a video when I get back, which will be my reflections on the season, having a look at Maniac's performance as well, seeing where I went wrong, where he went right, and working out what we're going to do next season. But for now, speaking of back, we're so back, baby. Look at this, top 3% finish. The badonkadonks dunk delivered. Kind of crazy that Droff was my second highest rated player. That was not what I expected when I went into this draft. I was a little worried when Cloud9 dropped out, but you know, Donk did Donk things. I also had 11 booster activations, which is really, really cool. Boosters obviously matter a lot. Rolls, not so great. Could have done better on rolls, but I think overall, top 3%, you cannot complain, and that now puts me at number 7. I think I was number 11 before this event finished, so I'm pretty happy with that jump up. That pretty much secures a top 10 finish, unless I really fumble the bag, but I've got my eyes on the prize. I said a couple of videos ago that top 5 was maybe out of reach, but I'm kind of feeling like maybe in this last leg I could make some magic happen. So we'll see what we can do as we go into the last event of the year. Blast Ball Finals, the last fantasy event of the season, really the last event of the season. It's a typical Blast format where you've got 2 groups of 4. Top team from each group goes straight into the semi-finals, so you get that 1 round of padding, something to consider if you're doing a 2-2-1 draft. And the team that comes last in the group gets eliminated, so keep that one in mind. I think we're kind of in this weird world at the moment where all of these teams have made recent changes. In fact, the team with the longest standing roster is actually Na'Vi, since they brought Wonderful in. I think Cloud9 was like a couple of days later when they changed their roster, so that's kind of crazy to think about. And it does mean that drafting is a little bit weird for this event. It's kind of hard to predict where it's going to go, but we can still have some pretty good indications. Looking at the opening matches, Cloud9 should smoke Ents. I was not impressed by Ents when we saw them in Elisa. Glaive, I feel like maybe it's a little bit more time in the server with this squad. Don't expect much from them here. Vitality should be beating Na'Vi just because Vitality are Vitality, and they're kind of pegged as one of the favorites to win the whole event. They won full finals, and I expect them to come in strong here, and I expect them to top the group. With Ents being the team that just loses here in 4th. Group B, FaZe should smoke Heroic. That's the most one-sided matchup I think there is in this event. Not expecting Heroic to really do anything here. Mouse G2 I think is interesting though. I feel like G2, despite their sacrilegious removal of JKS, which has upset myself and the entire nation of Australia, I still feel like this team is solid enough that they can perform pretty well. I know their CCT results weren't great, but this is LAN we're talking about, and I feel like NiKo on LAN, want to see on LAN, it'll be a different beast. And Mal's, listen, they've been looking okay, but wasn't really impressed with them at Lisa, and Berlin is not frozen, so I am not expecting much from Mouse here, and I actually think G2 probably beat them. FaZe should win that out, but I feel like maybe G2 can do something cool here. Who knows? Regardless, Heroic is a team you don't pick in this group. I'm not going to do the predictions on how I think this playoff bracket looks, but the most likely outcome, as you'd expect, would be FaZe and Vitality, and potentially meeting in the grand final. If everything follows the script that it has so far this year, we'll see. But let's take a look at who we can draft. I think FaZe, Rop's very expensive, but he kind of is the CS2 guy. Can understand it. Karrakin, I think, is really good for his price, for his performance at the moment. Big question for me is how that's going to continue against tier 1 opposition now that other teams are catching up in CS2. I think Rain's great, 205. And Frozen feels like a steal. We don't know what he's going to look like in this team, but we just know he's a good player, so I feel like he's a good choice. Vitality, prices are very fair. Zyru at 229 actually isn't that expensive. I feel like he was 232 last time, right? Flamesy, very cheap. Don't think Mezzi's worth it, to be honest, at that price. I think I'd much rather get Flamesy or even Rain. I feel like Mezzi will take a little bit to adapt to this team. Spinks we saw very good. Apex maybe slightly overpriced, but you want to, hitch to a winning horse, then good choice. Mal's prices have come down a lot, as you expect. This team expectations are lower now, so Berlin 190. Listen, maybe, but the guy hasn't played an official in months. He's played a cash cup. That's why he's got these inflated stats. So don't even look at those. I don't know. I wouldn't. I'd go exertion. Shui maybe. I don't know. It's tough to pick into this team. Ents. Madden looked pretty good at Elisa. Some Pious, very cheap. I'm not buying into them. Like I said, I think they get eliminated, but I can see why you'd be enticed. The prices are good. But prices that are good is NiKo, 208. Crazy cheap for NiKo. Yes, he's been struggling a little bit, but it's NiKo. 208k. That's a steal. I think 103k less, you're going NiKo. Monacy's still Monacy price. That's fair. I think Hoopsy, I'd avoid him at the moment. He's not looked good in CS2. I think there's better choices for budget picks, including Nexa, who's 185. That's the sort of price that Hoopsy was. And I think Nexa is a much higher caliber player than Hoopsy is. So definitely interested in prices there. Navi still had pretty good prices. I think Alexi at 189 is still very good. JL has gone up a little bit. He's in the 200s now, but he's proven himself. And I think Wonderful clearing bit for sure. I think what we saw from this team last time around, Wonderful definitely showed that he has what it takes to play on this team and to perform well. So I go him over a bit. Cloud9, still really good prices. The fact that you can get Hobbit and Axile for like 405 for the two, really good. Don't know if I get Electronic after what I just saw recently. I think I'd probably go Axile or Perfecto with Hobbit. And Heroic, we ain't touching this. I just don't. I don't know. I mean, they're cheap, but they're cheap for a reason. I just don't see them doing anything. Maybe you could buy Tessus just to kind of give you more money elsewhere, but to me, that's a crazy choice. So because I'm in a pretty good position this season, but I also kind of want to jump ahead of a few more players, I'm going to do a half in, half out, half risk, half safe draft. So it's going to be a 2-2-1. I'm going to show you the risky side first, because I want to get that out of the way. I'm going to do G2. I think the prices are so good. I think Mal's definitely weak target. I think there's no chance that G2 are the worst team in this group. They beat Heroic, so I'm comfortable they at least get the playoffs. And can't say no to NiKo at 208k. He's never going to be this cheap again. I have to pick him. And because Nexa is Hoopsy tier price, I can get him and I'm not over-investing in towards G2. I still have plenty of money left over. So I'm going to get Nexa. That's kind of the risky side of the draft. I balance it a little bit by going up to FaZe and getting Rain. I think Rain, really good pick here, very safe pair of hands. I feel like he can farm well against Heroic as well. So I'm pretty happy about that. It's kind of a backup strat if the rest of Group B fails with G2. I've got him there, which leaves me with some choices towards how I finish this, who I go in Group A. And I was weighing up two different lineups. The first one, if I wanted to go a bit riskier, and this is kind of almost double risky, so it's maybe a bit silly, would be to go Cloud9, and this would be Hobbit Perfecto. So that's what the team would look like. This is a lot of very good riflers. 5 very good riflers in this team. I still don't hate it, and I might change to it. The team I'm going to go, and because I feel like I need to pick a team that I believe can win this whole event and is one of the favorites to do so, has to be Vitality. I'm going to go Apex. It's the only way I can do this team. You have to. I couldn't get those two. I'm going to get Flamesy, obviously, over Mezzy. I've already kind of given the reasons as to why I think Flamesy is looking like a phenomenal player in this squad. And I feel like he's really performing in CS2. And I feel like I also need an extra carry. You know, we've kind of gone through the logic that I've applied before with, you know, getting these players that can have these really over-the-top carry games. Flamesy definitely one of those guys. You know, he can go quiet sometimes, but then he has those pop-off 1.5 rating games. And they're the players we like to have in the squad to kind of elevate the potential for big numbers in CS2. So that's going to be the team that I go for. I might flip-flop on the C9 if I want to risk it, but I feel like where I am in the season with only 1 game left, this feels okay. I don't love getting Apex. It's definitely a little bit weaker on the floor because of this, but Flamesy, but the carry potential's there. That's going to be the Flame Eaters. The roles work quite well on this team. It's a little bit risky, obviously, with G2. I do really believe they can beat Mouse. I think they can come second in that group. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know what you think. Let me know how your season has gone. I've got one more video that I will release when I get back, when I sit down and record, which I'll go over all of the fantasy season, and we'll try and wrap up all our learnings so that we can go into next year with a bang. Good luck.